Good morning. This is Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, many of you have been listening to it on radio, 12:30 a.m. on your dial, and the sister company, 105.3, Simpsport, Louisiana. And of course, the show is, the first showing is on Thursday at 7 a.m., radio and TV. And the television replays on Friday morning at 7 a.m. and again at 2 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. And of course, the internet, no matter where you are in the world, you can pick us up on your internet, your computer at home or work or while you're traveling.
Or iPhone, or iPad.
Or the iPhone
or
right
Android.
Here. I hate to hear anybody say that they haven't seen or don't know the Bobby Dupre Show.
They can watch it. There's a million different ways to get there now.
Yes, sir. They sure are. And this is my sidekick, Andrew. I want to pay you for the whole show
what a deal.
This week, not just that half pay like last week. And the week before, you got all the pay, and I didn't get but half.
That's good.
So, you know,
trying to cut you back a little bit.
That's right. I'm making too much money at that zero pay. But we have fun, and we want to thank our sponsors. Before we go too far, we do have sponsors, and let's get about 2 or 3 of them right now so that we can continue having good sponsors like we have since we started the television portion of the program.
Well, let's start right with the grocery stores. We'll start with Mr. Benny's at Benny's Supermarket right here in town. I ate a big old salad today. You know, at lunchtime you can go by the deli there and get either some nice salads. You can get good home-style cooking, rice and gravy and potatoes. All, you know, if you're a working man that can work that off, you know, those of us in a business environment, we got to eat a little bit lighter.
Kind of big for me.
Got to watch ourselves. Or you can get it for lunch and keep a little bit for supper too. It's a big enough meal.
There's enough.
And I saw again this year the best of the best produce in Opelousas. They got one of the greatest produce places. If you want to eat salads, you want to eat fruit during the day, a good place to go get that. But they got the meats, they've got all the vegetables, they've got the beer selection. It's 80-something imported beers. They've got the wine selection. They've got Miss Mary's gift shop there. They've got nutritional supplements for those of you who like to work out in the sports shack there over at Benny's. And how about Carl's Thrifty Way? You get your medicine, your prescriptions filled there at Carl's Thrifty Way. They can help you out with all your prescriptions. They can compound multiple prescriptions, make it easier for you to take. They've got the generics to help you cut your bill. If you don't want to spend the big dollar money of the big name brand, if your medicine's been out long enough that there's a generic available, it can save you a couple of dollars. They'll help you with that. And they've got home decorating ideas there. They can go and do look at your house for you and give you some ideas. I know they do custom type wreaths and everything for different events. You know, come this fall, they'll do things in Christmas and Thanksgiving. That's Carl's Thrift Way here in Opelousas.
Okay, that's you satisfied with that?
How about one more? I'll sneak one more. Dixie Storage,
one more.
All your storage needs. Dixie Storage has locations throughout the parish. Port Barre, Opelousas, and Washington. There are 3 big locations, and they've got railroad spur access. They've got Dixie One Trucking that can move your items from warehouse to warehouse if you're a business. They can do inventory control for you as well. They can offload it at the railroad spur, onload it for you. Big loading docks. They've got a reception hall in Port Barre called a reception hall, a multi-use facility. Any kind of event that you're having, they can hold over 300 people with a full-service kitchen there as well. They've also got A+ Glass, their sister company with locations in Lafayette and here in Opelousas for all your glass needs for cars, for trucks, for homes, for commercial glass. They do it all there. Dixie.
While we were talking about my brother's recent death, John Dupre, Sr., I got a lot of phone calls, and I want to thank all of you. And then I got a card here from Miss Thelma Cormier. That's Don Cormier's wife, Don Sr., racehorse man for many years, and of course he also has a feed store right near the old Evangeline Downs. And Miss Thelma writes me a nice little note inside of the sympathy card. I cannot believe we have so much in common. You might remember I spoke about her recently, finding out that she was a Benson, and I knew her daddy, and I knew where they operated their store on Landry Street, and I knew her brothers, and so we had a connection there. She says, Mr. John Dupre was my high school principal at Port Barre High School. me and my sisters all loved them very much. Then we moved to Opelousas and went to Opelousas High School where we graduated, and he was a superintendent in St. Landry Parish. So nice little story. And you might remember that I spoke about Julius Alcindor and his mama coming over and visiting with the family on Sunday afternoon at the wake. And then, of course, Julius came back the next day for the funeral. And I had received an email from Carolyn Alcindor, who had worked at our office, and I commented that Claudia, her sister, had also worked. And of course, while at the office, I had an email from Claudia, and she works with Louisiana Farm Bureau in their main office, which is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She's a lead policy analyst, and of course, Carolyn works as a senior technical advisor with the Travelers Ocean Marine Division. So they started their little careers right here in Opelousas and went on to the big cities and are doing well there. And to all of you, you really have made the family feel good. Many of you, of course, are just finding out about it, and we're trying to get the word out, and hopefully a few more people will see the program this week and find out that John did pass away. And while we're talking about that, I have one death notice. And I attended the funeral services for Mr. Wesley, better known as Mr. Wes David. Wes had worked for Mr. Al Leon Packer at Southern Steel, I think was the name of that company. And then he moved over to the new company, Ideal Steel. And he did me a favor. The way I got to knowing him, let's go back how I got to knowing Mr. Wes David. I got to knowing him through he and Miss Melba Fredericks had been companions since 1977. Long time. And of course, Miss Melba's daughter is my business partner, Vicki Fredericks, and also she and Jimmy lives next door at my condo at the Point. They live there full time. So I got to knowing Wes, and when I think it was Gustav did some damage in the local area, I ran out to, it wasn't Gustav either, because it's when the first storm came through. Yeah, that was Gustav, I think, that hit the Texas area. Yeah, and hit the Texas area, because I had Wanda's daughter and son-in-law at the time. They were there along with 2, possibly 3 other couples staying in the outdoor kitchen there for a week or so. And we, after the storm passed, we ran out to my little ranch house near Washington. No damage, we could notice, no damage. Well, I saw the tenant that was living there, Benny, Benny and his wife, and he mentions to me, he says, I didn't see y'all doing any work on the roof at the camp. And I said, well, we went there right after. There was no damage. Well, he says, they took off one side, about half of one side of the roof. I said, really? So I ran back out there, and sure enough, so Mac,
it
my
pulled
carpenter,
it off clean. It had the ground level, you didn't see anything.
Well, no, but it happened after.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Like a little tornado came through after the storm had. No, there was no damage when we went there. Yeah. Anyhow, we needed some metal right away, and it's hard to get right away. Well, I thought about Wes. I'd see him at the Point every now and then, real nice, friendly fella, and Miss Melba. And so called him, and I kind of leaned on him a little bit. Well, he got my metal roof for me. So anyhow, I was able to go and then went to the burial site over near Erath, Louisiana, LeBlanc Cemetery. And I saw this LeBlanc church, and it's now used as a reception hall. And something got me to feeling like I had been to that site before. And so I asked Jimmy and Vicky after the burial, I says, was this still a church or is it used for something else? No, it's a reception hall. I said, I came there with George Richard and his brother, his nephew, Jimmy, was doing a big catering job there. And we went to help him set up for catering. And I could reckon, I don't know, it all came back to me then. So anyhow, I'm making a big, long story. But then after that, we all went over to Shucks. And Bert, one of the two owners there, Bert was there that day. And we got to visit, I think his name is Bert East, I-S-T-R-E.
It sure is.
And got to visit. And of course, the young black lady, that's my buddy over there, she looks at me, she says, you haven't been here in a good while, Mr. Bobby, where you been? And I didn't get to take a picture of her, but I did go by and give her a nice little tip. She didn't wait on us, but I owe her for being so friendly.
The food and atmosphere there is always very good at Shucks.
We enjoyed it, and of course, the three sons were there, his three sons were there, Daniel, Danny, and then John and Gary. Gary works with Entergy, and when he comes next time he's in Opelousas, he's going to call me. We're going to have coffee, and I think it's Danny that watches the program. So good morning to all of you.
How about if I sneak another sponsor in? Steamboat Warehouse. Boy, I got a chance to go Friday. Me and little Andrew went down there for supper. They had a crowd. They were full upstairs, full downstairs, people sitting out on the wharf enjoying all the atmosphere at Steamboat Warehouse. They were having some of those adult libations in the bar. I had the crawfish palmetto. Andrew had the chicken and sausage gumbo, I mean a big plate, and it was dark. If you like that dark gumbo, which is the way I like it and the way he likes it, man, it was good. Great service as always. They had young people running around, and I want to tell you, you didn't have to wait long. Anything you wanted, they were running, they were coming. So if you get a chance to go by Steamboat Warehouse, great seafood, great steaks, great atmosphere. Didn't get to talk to the chef owner. He had to work hard that night. So I'll see him next time I go. But Steamboat Warehouse in Washington and KSLO, we'll see you on the other side of 3.
Okay, and
show photos if you like.
Well, yeah, the photos that we're going to be showing, not all of them, a few of them we're going to maybe save. Okay. This one here, Finest Wings, go ahead.
There we go.
Okay, it's on, he's got it on the TV? Yes, all right. Finest Wings is the name of a horse that Patsy and Joe Rink own, and that race was Friday night. And they were the winners, and Miss Patsy, of course, was with some of the grandkids on a little vacation somewhere. Wasn't there like usual, but Joe and some of our friends, we all went down. I hadn't taken my picture in quite a while. I haven't won a race since July of 2010. That's a year and a half ago, almost 2 years. And anyhow, we had real fun, and racing is real popular. We have some more racing pictures. Do we want to show those now, or that's not the order you have them in?
I got this one.
Okay, the big crowd for Saturday night, Legends Night. And of course, Attaway Darbone had a race named after him. Archie Sebastian had a race named after him.
The race we just showed was named after Don Stemmons.
Don Stemmons, that was on Friday night.
Right.
And this is the stick race, which is a benefit race for the REAP group organization. That's the workers on the backside, and that's the...
They've done things like built them a washateria back there and help provide goods to help the people living there.
Don't ever forget to mention Homer and Diane Bork have been very instrumental in raising several thousands, as Clay would say.
And they're off.
And they're off. And one young fella just ran away from them, I'll tell you.
They run on stick horses.
Yep. And there he is. He's just leaving them behind. There was no doubt about who was going to win that 100-yard race.
He's a thoroughbred, as they say.
Yep. And they said, well, look out next year. Look for the person who's got some running shoes on. The others didn't have the running shoes on. And this is a picture of the horses just breaking out of the gate on a 1-mile race.
Then you've got this picture too.
This picture here, and I've got to get my little notes. I have a beautiful little family there. Jennifer Gregory and Jonathan Dunbar. They have a little 4-year-old daughter, and we have the next picture we're going to show you. And we'll come look at that. If that's not a beauty, she can go to Hollywood right now. Look at those gorgeous blue eyes and that little smile.